All right, how's everyone doing? This is Hala Pablo. Thank you for tuning in. Let's do our Bitcoin update now. Yeah, um, things are looking pretty bloody, aren't they? I'm really trying to find some kind of redeeming news for the bulls in this market, but I don't see too too much right now. The way things are going with the price action, it looks just more of the same. The prevailing sentiment is still bearish. Fear rules the markets at this time rather than greed. And we don't have to go far to see that. We go to Bitcoin liquidates 191 million in an hour after a dip to the 105 G mark. Um, so it's breaking down to a lower range, traded at 105, retaining a dominance of 58.5% as altcoins are hit harder. They're also giving less than optimistic news about the any kind of possibility of an altcoin season seems to be becoming more and more scant, at least for this year. The good news is this year is almost over, um, so we might have something after Christmas or around that time. There might be some optimism, some Christmas cheer that might come into the alts and infuse the alts with some kind of power as investors finally just shift the focus from Bitcoin to the alts. But as of right now, I mean, it doesn't look good. I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. So over here we've got on the left. Here we got Bitcoin on the daily. This is just a daily with the 200 and the 400 with the diamond distribution that we came out of, and then this broadening wedge or this reverse symmetrical triangle that we're in. We've come down to the E. As you can see, and well underneath now the 200 simple moving average. We talked about this. I told you this was probably in the makes, and so yeah, it's sent out feelers beneath. Right now we're at this micro trend support line, and we have clear predominance of supply in the vertical bar volume. And so this is on the daily. It's just supply is just eating. And so over here we kind of have like a macro. I'm sorry, like a micro. I have it on the 10 hour, so it's like a semi micro where I've drawn out. You see here we've gone under the double ice. We've been under the double ice for a few days now. The double ice, for those of you that don't know, are the anchored VWAP, two separate anchored VWAP lines. The first one anchored to the preliminary supply zone, and the second one to the buying climax of this top here. And so it looks like it's looking more and more like a blow off top. Although that's not conclusive yet, but we see that the price has sunken underneath it, well underneath it, and not only that, it's gone beneath the 200 here. Now again, this is on the 10-hour 200 simple moving average here. We've gone well beneath. You know, the last video we put out said that we're at the second LPSY on the verge of collapse, and indeed we've had that collapse now. And so now we've gone into the throwover area of the beneath the micro trend support line here. So this area here where the box is, this is where we are. And so you see that the spread is growing. It's kind of looks like red, like what I think of as like red icicles dripping down. You know how you see those icicles like in the winter that drip down off the awnings of the house. It's like that, I call it just like icicles, like red icicles, blood icicles, if you will. And the longer they are and the more they stretch down and bleed, the more bearish it is. Now that's obvious, right? Until we see some sort of melting, reverse melting take place. We haven't seen any real green coming in. We've got the stalactites, the blood stalactites, and the bloody stalagmites coming from the bottom as well, coming up to meet them. See, like these enormous supply spikes on the 10-hour. You see this preponderance of supply where we see large demand here, like for example here and here. we look, it's just failure to rallies above the trend. Much volume in demand, but you see a failure to rally. Of course, that's going to denote bullish weakness. We go now to the micro here. Here, excuse me, and I have, this is on the 1 hour now. We have the selling climax. I did another pseudo Wyckoff range just with the selling climax, the automatic rally, and the secondary test areas. And so this, we see the trading range support and resistance, and then I have the quarter bars here, like the quarter range, the top quarter and the bottom quarter. And so we go again to the supply and demand and the volume to see what's going on here. We have some brand new micro trend support and resistance lines, but it's showing us still more of the same, like here where we came down to this sign of weakness. What I think is going to happen, this 103 area here, between 104 and 103, I think that it's in the cards that the price action is going to mitigate that price. I think that we've come down, we've made two lower lows beneath the 200 and the double ice here. Now we have a micro trend resistance line coming down this way. It seems to be stopped out with the order blocks coming in right where the horizontal, or yeah, rather the horizontal and the diagonal trend lines are converging, is right where we would expect to see the sell-offs, and that's right where it's happening. Like this, for example, we look down here at these crucial areas, see where I have this red circle, and we see supply predominance. Look at all the supply coming in right where it's supposed to come in if the bears are in control, which they are. Where we see like a large spike, like supply spike, like here, and then in this area here, notice all the supply is coming in beneath the range midpoint. So if it were suddenly switching to bullishness, we should see demand predominance coming in the lower half of the range. We don't see that. Instead, we're seeing lower lows with supply dominating, with demand coming in right at pre-designated areas just to keep it from falling all the way down out of range. They incrementally bring it down. It's a slow bleed out. Here they came back up, you see, to test the 200 moving average. It got rejected, came back down. It hovered up here for a while between this preliminary supply zone with the ice, between the ice and the 200 simple moving average. You see this kind of like lateral consolidation range. It didn't do much. It was on generally low volume, and then but ever so incrementally supply begins building as it reaches this micro trend resistance line, this dotted yellow line, and then we see supply kind of build up, as you see here, until it reaches the convergence of the supply line, the micro trend resistance, and the bottom quarter horizontal trading range line, and then it dumped again. And so that's what this latest sell-off here, causing these two order blocks. So what I think is going to happen is we're going back down to test this sign of weakness down here. We can expect more, maybe consolidation, as again the price action nears the micro trend resistance, this micro trend resistance line. Look for increasing supply as it grows closer to it, and then maybe another thrust down into this area. Now, if we make it all the way back down there, we're not going to be very far off from the 400. Here's the 400. I'm hoping that the 400 is kind of like the shoreline where the ocean stops, where the waves begin breaking. If you want to look at supply as like the waves, think of like a sea of blood, and then you have the shoreline here. Maybe that's as far as it'll go. Maybe have a little bit of throw over and then bounce from there. Currently it's at 98.7. That is the 400 simple moving average, but we're going to have to see what it does between now and then. But yeah, it looks, I mean, this is some strong bearish action here, and I think that if we try to come up again and retest the 200, like we did here. This is the first one, and here, let's see if I could draw this out. It'll become more clear for you. Like here, we've already tested it here. We failed. We may be in line for one more test, and then down if we're not able to prevail. Down, magnetized to the 400 simple moving average and this lower liquidity void. See this liquidity void that I drew with the yellow rectangle? This is a mitigation, a major mitigation point. This is the preliminary supply zone here, and this is the terminal shakeout of it before we had that launch that took place back in June. So this was the low of that area of the 99, actually wicked down, I think, to like 98. So I think that this is inevitable. I think this is where the price is making its way back towards, somewhere around here where the 400 intersects the preliminary supply terminal shakeout zone. Somewhere around here we should see it stick. We should see it hold and even bounce back with a vengeance. That might be an area, and then depending on how high we go, we could have a period of consolidation, and then maybe then we'll see some action in the altcoins as Bitcoin dominance clearly begins to cool off, and liquid and investor interest shifts into the altcoins like XRP and more of Zcash perhaps, and others. We'll do videos on them when that happens, if and when that happens, but for now we're focusing on Bitcoin. By the way, this sort of structure would look like a head and shoulders, which wouldn't be out of the norm. Bitcoin loves creating head and shoulders on both the macro and micro. We see that over and over again. And so head and shoulders and inverted head and shoulders. So this looks like a head and shoulder proper. Maybe that last shoulder, that right shoulder, kind of consolidating between these two moving averages, and then either down further from there afterwards, where again we would get something like this here, where we were rejected off both the 200 and the 400, and then we went down. That's worst case scenario. If we go under the 4 and we're not able to get back up, that could be curtains. We've talked about that, but for now it's still inconclusive. Nobody knows. We do know that fear is dominant. There are whales on both sides. There are those that are betting on longs and those that are going short. I think the majority is short right now, but like I said, that could change. But I do think not after we mitigate those 2 points, the preliminary supply zone, but first this one here at 103, going back down and creating another lower low after maybe like tomorrow or the next day as the price hits this micro trend resistance line and supply build. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. That's what you should be looking for if you're into Bitcoin, if you're into the crypto markets. That's about all I got. Thanks for watching this, for hanging in. If you watched it all the way to the end, good job. You must be serious about investing. Thank you for just spending the time with us, and like, subscribe if you get anything out of these videos, and that way you won't miss any more updates. We'll have some more coming soon. I try to do them every day now, at least Monday through Friday, when I can. So, all right, guys, God bless you. Talk to you soon. None of what you've heard here or seen here is financial advice, for education use only, but you already knew that, right? Okay, guys, adios. Have a good day. Bye-bye.